welcome to HDPP Live on a Saturday night to the UK and around the world with photos, memories and friends. This is HDPP Live. How are you this evening? Are you all well?
Hinckley District has the present for you, meeting friends old and new. Streaming Wednesdays and Saturdays too, with founder members Paul and Sue. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Film clips, photos, memories and friends helps a dreary night go by. We're in Hinckley, six of the best, stupendous quizzical high. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Let's take you back in time. A community affair. We'll take you for a ride. Henson's Cab will take you there. We're making history. HDPP, chapter applauses. History aside. Local causes. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Betty is our queen bee. The sweetest honey candy. Dangerous Den, here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know it, keep it in HDPP.
Good evening, hello. 'Tis us again, once again it's HDPP Live on a Sunday evening. How are you? Are you alright? Are you alright, my lads? Good game. Lovely to have you all here again on a Sunday evening, I know. It's been a busy old week at HDPP Towers, but here we are again, battling through yet another week of entertainment and events which has kept us occupied all through. I can tell you that straight away. It really has been a busy one. It just seems, or just lately, it just seems, Wednesday, Sunday. That's how it goes, I suppose. But we have been busy. And welcome to if it's your very first time for tuning in. Lovely to have your company this evening. We have all the regular features that make Sunday evening the best place to come and spend just over an hour or so with some friends in the chat room, with me doing the old yank, 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 yank. Yeah, I know. And Mrs. G sneezing in the background. You don't get that on live TV all the time, you know. We've had a bit of a shocker here at HDPP Towers earlier on, because we were just Sue was just copying up the 6 of the best questions. She got them all right. That's how easy it is tonight. She got them all right. So we both, I'm a little bit shocked, because I'm thinking, well, if Mrs. G's got 6 out of 6, you're going to do very well tonight, I'm sure. We'll be doing that in just a few moments' time. So get yourselves ready with that. A super anagram as well. But You'll get it. I have every faith in you. Absolutely. So let's just dip over into the old chat room, you know, and as we say, in one. Exactly. Anne Hunt, hello, Anne. First over the line this evening. Well done. From Wall. Yes, down there in Somerset. Absolutely. Annabelle Mann came straight in with a cooey. Looking forward to Wednesday night when Rent a Crowd and Anna and Annabelle will be there as we talk about pantomime. Oh, yes, we will. It will be a fun night. Seriously, it will be. Maybe pantomime's not your thing. Well, it's more about the fun of pantomime. And I was telling Annabelle some things, and she said, "Oh, didn't know that. Oh, didn't? Yeah, I know." And you will find out too when you come along Wednesday evening. Now, please come along. Like I say, sadly, we've had to step in to do this because Mervyn Wallace sadly has had to postpone his talk, but he will come and do his talk about the Stony Stanton and Sapcut quarries in the new year. That's as much as I can tell you at the moment. But so you've got Annabelle and me on Wednesday evening with Rent a Crowd. It's going to be fun. Come along. You know you want to. Just do it. Some people do prefer to go to camera clubs, which I can't understand. I mean, we only do ours that one night a week. Yeah, one night a month. That's all. Other people who could be writing books decide they'll go to the camera club instead. It's terrible, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, Dave Brigg, good evening. How are you this evening? I bet it's all quiet on the canals now. This time of year, sure, it all quietens down, yes. But nice and cosy on one of those boats. I always think that, absolutely. Anyway, Mr. Smuggley is here this evening, along with Russet. Hi, Russet. Okay. And I'm sorry to hear about your cracked orbit. I shouldn't laugh, but bless you. I do hope that I'm sure that time will be a healer for you there, Russet. So thank you. And yeah, Mrs. Smuggley's here as well, followed by Dangerous Den, who's here. And thank you, Den. Yesterday, your help at the scanning session always really helpful to us. So thank you for Perkins. I call him Perkins on scanning day because he's our chauffeur, and I'll say, "Oh, hello, Perkins, take us to the church," and so on. So that's nice. Also, Queen Bee's here, and she's doing so well. She's already signed up for the Lionesses. She'll be kicking the ball about soon at this rate. So yeah, doing really, really well is our Queen Bee as well. Daniel Coburn's here. Hi, Daniel. Hope you'll find that on this evening. And Mushroom Man. Now, that when I seen that, first time I think since COVID, as Mushroom Man has come in to say hello. He's probably gone again now, but nice to know that you're there after all this time as well. Kay Norton's here as well. Oh, look. Oh, they're all coming in now. I didn't think we'd have many in tonight, to be honest. I don't know why. But Jane's here. Jane Brown, little Jane's here. Hi, Jane. See, you've been having a lovely walk around today. Let's hope you can do well with 6 of the best. Carol Beasley's here as well. Nice to see you, Carol. Hope you're coming on Wednesday. We've got to fill that room somehow, and we could do with a few more, please. Right. I do know, Carol, that the Crops and Curb is our way next week. Yes, but Carol says, I will be there. You see, that's what I like. Determination is in. Commitment to HDPP. Okay, great. Kath says, I can't wait for Wednesday at the Greyhound. Well, it will be fun. I promise. It's going to be fun. And that's what we try and make it all the way. David S. Must say hello to David S. because now David S. is the sort of more member type we need. They travel all the way down from up north. No, they do, from Tamworth Way. They come down and honestly, and that's, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. Can we have some claps for David S? Yeah, they deserve it, you know. Good grief. Other people prefer to go to camera clubs and, not write books and stuff. However, anyway, there we go. So let's get on to 6 of the best this evening, first and foremost. So let's get this moving and out of the way. In fact, first, I don't know what slide it's going to start on tonight. So let's see if we can get in the right... Oh, we've started in the right place. So here we go with question 1. Now, remember, don't put your answers in the chat room because people nick them and then claim it's their own answer. So don't do that, okay? And a reminder from Queen Bee, do not forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That's the little bell looking thing. Then you will get notifications when we go live. And of course, by liking us, it helps us with our antibiotics. Right, okay, here we go. So what does Potter's Marston, Aston Flamville, Sutton Cheney, what do they share in common? I think it's quite easy. I'm not going to give any clues yet because I think some of you might get straight to it. So, but I might give a clue later. Let's see how it goes. So what does Potter's Marston, Aston Flamville, Sutton Cheney share in common? Now, it's not a church or a chapel I'm looking for this time. So get that straight out of your head. We're not looking for a chapel or a church. But what else could we be looking for? That is question 1. Mrs. G got that right. Made me sulk straight away. Question 2. Now then. We had to quickly rewrite this earlier just before we came live on air. Right then, general knowledge. Saying the name of what fruit used to encourage people to smile before a photo in the 1800s. Before the phrase, or BC, before cheese. You know, we always say, cheese? What did we used to say before? Say cheese? What did they used to say in the 1800s? What was the fruit that they used to say instead of how we say cheese today? That's what we're looking for. Mrs. G got that right too. A couple of guesses. She had to have a go first, but she got it right. Yeah. Question number 3. Here we go. I want you to find the words for this classic kids program, and I promise you, like all of them, you would have heard of this. And even if you probably never watched it, although it was the sort of kids program everybody watched because it was just funny, it was great. A well-known, very well-known classic kids program. There we go. I think some people will get it straight off. Mrs. G did. She was on fire tonight, you know. I'll just leave it on the screen a few moments, but we will repeat the questions in a few moments anyway. But that just so you can write it down quickly. Fill the gaps in. That will give you the classic kids program, what we're looking for this evening. Okay. Right. Let's move on to question number 4. The Profumo affair, the Great Train Robbery, the mass civil rights demonstration in Washington, and the Great Escape was first shown. But what was the year? What was the year? Oh, yes, now well, the Profumo affair was a big malarkey, and certainly I remember the Great Train Robbery. Actually, I remember I was just a nipper, but I do remember that very much because the television was full of it at the time. And the Great Escape, well, brilliant, isn't it? So, what was the year? What was the year? That's what we're looking for in our Guess the Year. Try to do it without using Google, as we always say, because you get extra smugness points for doing it without going on to Google. Right, into where am I? There I am. Where am I, though? This is what I want you to find out. I'll say nothing, but I will show it there. And just see what you come up with. Oh, it could be a couple of 2 or 3 places I can think of straight off the top of my head, but there is enough subtle clues in there, I believe, to say where it is. And even now, I feel a wave of smugness emanating from the Jelson estate. I do. And, okay, anagram question time. Eggnog, hand-holding toaded. Yeah. There we go. Now, rearrange that. And you'll find a local hostelry. I think we've used it before, actually, to be totally fair, but it's been a while. So, there is your anagram. Let me leave it on the screen a few moments, just so you can get that. Eggnog, hand-holding, toaded. Love it. Right, we're going to do a recap of the questions this evening. So if you've missed one, you're going to come around. We're going to see it again. Here we go. Question 1. What does Potter's Marston, Aston Flamville and Sutton Cheney share in common? And we're not talking chapels or churches. Okay, that is question number 1. Question number 2. Saying the name of what fruit used to encourage people to smile before a photograph was taken in the 1800s. Before the phrases we know as say cheese, what did they used to say? quite funny, I think, actually. But there again, that's just my silly mind. Question 3, we're looking for a real true classic kids television program. They are fill in those missing letters and you will come up with an absolute classic. Still about today, still as popular today as it was way back then. And I can remember it and I was still at school, still going strong. There you go. Once again, we'll repeat all these after we've had our first feature this evening. Okay, we are now going to move on to question 4. So guess the year, the Profumo affair, the Great Train Robbery. Mass civil rights demonstrations in Washington, the Great Escape was first shown. What was the year? I told you I could feel a wave of smugness coming over the top. Got the anagram, says Mr. Smugly. Oh, just at the same time as the crops have arrived. Thank goodness. I thought, I can't do this without the crops here. I just can't do it. Hi, Alan and Marie. Nice to know that you're here. We'll have to show these questions again after our first feature. Right, so where am I? Where am I? I am somewhere local, but where am I? Oh, I can think of 3 places this possibly could be, but only one is correct. Where am I? That is question number 5. Question number 6, the anagram question. Mr. Smugly's already got it. He would. Eggnog, hand-holding, toadidded. Yeah. That's what it is. Rearrange that. You will find a local hostelry. Alan Cropp says, a bit of a technical problem. Well, you're here now, Alan. That's great to know. Sorry I didn't have a chance to come over and have a chat with you yesterday, by the way, while we were in St Mary's Church. Right, so there we go. There are your questions this evening. And as I say, we will recap those after we've got a couple of features. Now, you're in for a little treat tonight. Not only have we got a noser, we've got 2. We've got a little noser and a bigger noser. That's all coming your way this evening. But before all that, to give you a chance to work on those questions, and as I say, we will repeat them after our first feature. Absolutely. Oh, blimey, Gary Bettle is it? Blimey, Gary, you've in Babbage. Hey, mate, nice to be local. Love to try and catch up if we can. That'd be really, really super. Okay, so we're going to have our first feature while you go off and try and crack what we are doing here this evening. We always like Jim Butler's programmes when he does those features around Leicester. And I looked on my log and said, it's been a while since we repeated one of those in the sequence, as it were. So settle back and enjoy 20 minutes of this, and then we'll be back with more 6 of the best. And we'll see how we go from there while we're working on the anagram and, of course, the classic children's programme. Meanwhile, let's go over to Leicester and Jim.
In 47 AD, about 4 years after Emperor Claudius's invasion force landed on the south coast of England, Roman soldiers stood near this spot on the west bank of the River Soar, pondering the settlement on the far side. Contrary to the barbarian hordes the soldiers had probably heard tales of prior to landing in Britannia, what they actually discovered was an island of established and organised tribes. Each community had its own social structure with chieftains, religious leaders, craftsmen and women, and artisans. The settlement on the opposite side of the river behind me was not just any other Iron Age settlement, it was the principal site of the Curiel Tavorai, a Celtic tribe that occupied most of the East Midlands and beyond. From Warwickshire and the southern tip of Northamptonshire, to the far side of Derbyshire in the west, to the Lincolnshire coast in the east, and up to the Humber in the north. But to truly understand the strategic and cultural importance of Iron Age Leicester, we need to explore the evidence left by its Celtic inhabitants, not only here in the city, but in our suburbs and the wider county too. I'm Jim Butler. Welcome to Hidden Histories of Leicester. There is a large body of evidence that tells us that here, on the east banks of the Soar, stood a sizable Iron Age settlement, known as an oppidum. The oppidum was probably around 8 hectares in size, which is about the size of 11 football pitches, and was lightly fortified. The Iron Age started in Britain around 800 BC. Over the course of a few hundred years, iron replaced bronze as the principal ingredient of tools and weapons across the country. People in Iron Age Britain were farmers, first and foremost, and agriculture was their main source of food. So these new, stronger tools enabled Iron Age Britons to cultivate new areas of land, and the landscape was increasingly organised and divided, with field systems becoming more and more common. From archaeological evidence, like the post holes, timber slots, eave drip gullies found right here beneath the Holiday Inn, we know that they lived in roundhouses, structures built of timber with wattle and daub walls and thatched roofs. Roundhouses had a single entrance and could be up to 15 metres in diameter. From about 150 BC, gold and cast bronze coins are in use in Britain, and from 100 BC, Roman wine is being imported. From this point up until the Roman conquest in 43 AD, it is clear that Iron Age Britons are trading and exchanging across the continent. Again, this can be evidenced by the Belgic pottery discovered on this site. But to get a clearer understanding of Iron Age Leicester, we need to explore the oppidum more fully. So follow me. It is thought that the southern boundary of the Iron Age oppidum extended to the southern edge of the castle area, where more Belgic type pottery was discovered in the 1930s and 40s. It's also possible that traces of an early Roman ditch found in this area are actually defences linked to the Iron Age settlement. It is thought that the term rati in the Roman name for the town relates to the Brittonic word for ramparts, which does suggest that the town was defended prior to Roman occupation. For more information on the town defences, be sure to check out my earlier episode called Walking the Walls. Now let's move on. Here at Jubilee Square, we're at the site of the Roman Forum, which we'll explore in more detail in a later episode. But in 1963, a suspected Iron Age burial was discovered here, which could give us an indication of the eastern edge of the Iron Age oppidum. Next, we head northwest. In the 1930s, renowned archaeologist Kathleen Kenyon undertook her extensive excavations here at Jewry Wall, uncovering the bathhouse site behind me. During the dig, she also found traces of Iron Age huts along with quantities of imported Gallo-Belgic pottery. She was definitely of the opinion that she had discovered a pre-conquest settlement. Let's keep going. Behind me in Wells Street, in addition to an Iron Age shield boss, a portion of a beehive quernstone was discovered. Beehive, or rotary querns, were a huge technological advancement to arrive in Britain during the middle of the Iron Age period, about 400 to 300 BC. Prior to this point, the only way to grind grain into flour was using a saddle quern. These were large flat rocks where the grain was placed on, whilst the user had another large, roughly cylindrical handstone to crush the grain by pushing and pulling it over and over again, a bit like using a rolling pin. However, rotary querns revolutionised this process by enabling two large stones to be placed one on top of the other, held in position by a pivot. The grain is then fed into a hole leading into the grinding surface where the two stones meet. A wooden peg is then inserted into the top stone to act as a handle, and then you can either rotate or oscillate the upper stone to grind the grain and create the flour. This process was significantly less labour intensive than the earlier method, and also enabled flour to be created from unmalted grains. Now we head north. Underneath these new student accommodation blocks at Bath Lane, perhaps the most important Iron Age discoveries were made. In 2014, archaeologists discovered the remains of a large, late Iron Age rectangular ditched enclosure. Within the enclosure, there were several shallow hearths or kiln bases. In the ditches themselves were copious numbers of coin flans or mould fragments. And just to the south of the enclosure was a kiln base most probably associated with the production or the use of coin flans. All of this strongly points to the site being used as a mint to make coins in the late Iron Age period. Historically, mints are cited in towns of administrative and authoritative power, and so this find, perhaps more than any other in the city, proves the importance of Leicester in the governance of the Curia Torvae, and for that reason, its strategic importance to the invading Romans. But if we want to get a broader idea of the cultural legacy of our Iron Age forebears, we need to look further afield. So let's head to Evington. Before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment to think about archaeology. Because Iron Age people didn't have any written form of communication that we're aware of, all of the evidence we have for their existence and their way of life comes almost entirely from what has been unearthed by professional archaeologists, enthusiastic amateurs, or chance finds. Sadly, prior to the latter half of the 20th century, finds dated earlier than the Roman period tended not to be recorded, and so our understanding of these periods remains sketchy at best. This is particularly the case in towns and cities, where expansion and large-scale building meant that much of the archaeological evidence was disturbed, but wasn't recorded. In the Victorian era, the fashion for building basements into properties meant that much of the archaeological evidence was highly impacted upon. It is for this reason that in the whole of the Leicester City Council local authority boundary, the number of sites identified as having an Iron Age find is only 72. By comparison, across the whole of the Leicestershire County Council, the number of Iron Age sites numbers over 2,500. But even though the majority of major discoveries are still thanks to the skill and commitment of archaeologists, often up to their elbows in mud for months on end, modern technologies are starting to play their part too. Take for example LiDAR. LiDAR stands for Light Detection and Ranging, and is a method used for measuring distances or ranges by illuminating a target with a laser light and measuring the reflections with a sensor. Differences in laser return times and wavelengths can then be used to make a digital 3D representation of the target. When used from above, it can be particularly effective at penetrating through present vegetation and landscaping to reveal indentations and formations not visible to the naked eye. It is thanks to this LiDAR image that in 2017 the city's planning archaeologists identified for the very first time the distinctive outline of an Iron Age hill fort right here beneath Leicestershire Golf Club in Evington, without so much as a single trench having to be dug. Clearly, it is only by pure chance that the Victorian founders of the golf club chose this spot in 1890 that saved the area from development and preserved the site for future generations. Amazing. Now let's crack on. The Curia Torvae settlement, found here in Humberston during the building of the new Gateway College, was over 8 hectares in size and spread to the far side of Hamilton Way, making it one of the largest Iron Age settlements in the East Midlands. In addition to mixed farming across wide areas of open grassland and possibly some agricultural fields, it's clear from the finds discovered that the Iron Age people that lived here were involved with craft activities such as metalworking, weaving and boneworking, and were clearly part of a broad network of trade and exchange. The development of Iron Age craft activities not only demonstrates the development in the tools required to decorate bone and metalwork, or the tools required for weaving, it also demonstrates the flamboyancy and creativity of the people at the time. Far from being happy with everyday plain objects, these people clearly loved colour and decoration, and some of the Celtic arts and craft artefacts left behind still influence fashion and design today. Okay, let's go west. It's hard to imagine now, but over 2,000 years ago, this site behind me, between Glenfield and Kirby Muxloe, was a home to a thriving Iron Age community, complete with at least 25 roundhouses, enclosures, other buildings, evidence of metalworking and cremation burials. A treasure list for the site contained 83 finds, including 9 or 10 complete cauldrons, a complete sword, 2 parts of a bronze horn cap or sceptre, a brooch and horse fittings. But the most intriguing and exciting part of this site is not what artefacts were discovered here, but where they were discovered. Rather than being mere cooking implements, in Celtic society, cauldrons held a ritual and often spiritual significance. So, along with the other artefacts, the fact that most of the cauldrons discovered here have been deliberately placed in a large circular ditch enclosing a single building, and that these cauldrons had significantly raised decorative markings around the outer edge, suggests that this site was of ritual importance where large-scale feasting occurred. The Glenfield Park site gives us incredible insight into how the Coriel Torvai worshipped and celebrated. But if we want to understand more about Iron Age beliefs, then there's another site in Leicestershire that we really need to visit. So let's head back east. In 2001, a local group of field workers using metal detectors and field walking discovered a large number of gold and silver Iron Age and Roman coins, here at a hilltop site close to Hallerton in East Leicestershire. Upon further investigation, archaeologists discovered that this was a sacred site to the Iron Age people, and that rituals including animal sacrifices were happening here on the very eve of the Roman invasion. Animals clearly played an important part of the rituals practiced here at the site. In the enclosure's boundary ditch were the bodies of at least 2 dogs, and in the entranceway a pit was discovered with the body of a 3rd dog with its head unnaturally contorted and stretched backwards, perhaps as a symbol as a guard to the site. Outside of the sanctuary area, a cluster of pits were discovered containing the remains of more than 80 young pigs. The pigs had not been buried whole, but had been divided up and placed into different pits, and almost all of them were missing their right forelimb, suggesting that this part of the animal served some sacred or special purpose. In addition to the over 5,200 coins discovered in clusters along the site, were a number of silver objects, including a silver bowl, silver ingot and silver coins, all placed deliberately and carefully within the ditch. This phenomenal amount of wealth suggests that a significant sacrifice was being made here to the Iron Age gods. Perhaps the final piece of the puzzle was the discovery of an ornate Roman cavalry helmet placed predominantly on top of the ditch. Given that we know the site was mainly in use just prior to and just after the Roman invasion, it seems feasible to me that the reason the Iron Age inhabitants made such an important and valuable sacrifice to the Iron Age gods was perhaps to ask them to delay or even stop the coming invasion of the Romans. Interestingly, despite an extensive Roman settlement being created nearby, for the almost 400 years that they were here, the Romans avoided the main area of the shrine despite its prime location, suggesting that they were aware of the sacred nature of the site. Let's head back towards Leicester. Many people have the view of Iron Age people being a warrior society, conjuring images of Boudica and her followers riding chariots and wielding spears. Although undoubtedly war was a part of the Iron Age, it certainly wasn't an everyday occurrence. Over the past couple of decades, the continued expansion of Foss Retail Park and Grove Farm Triangle have uncovered a series of Iron Age farmsteads and small settlements. These have revealed a busy farming landscape along the Soar Valley, with farmsteads on the higher ground and meadows and grazing along the valley floor. However, in 2015, here at Everard's Meadows, archaeologists made an unprecedented discovery that reminds us that life in the Iron Age wasn't always peaceful. Here, buried at the bottom of a deep and waterlogged pit, archaeologists discovered the only ever Iron Age bark shield found in the whole of Europe. Measuring 67 centimetres by 37 centimetres, the shield had been carefully constructed with wooden lathes to strengthen it, a wooden edged rim and a beautiful woven boss, the round bit that protects the hand and the handle, with paint and scoring on the outside to form a red checkerboard pattern. A replica was made of the shield using the same materials and typical tools of the era. Although not as strong as a solid wood or metal shield, archaeologists were surprised to discover that the bark shield could stand up to heavy impacts, including protecting from arrows. Also, the materials used were much lighter, allowing for speed and movement. Despite being abandoned at the bottom of a pit, the enemy shield had clearly seen action, as it had been severely damaged with at least one hole being caused by the pointed tip of a spear, whilst other groups of cuts on its surface seemed to indicate where sharp blades had hit it. To understand this warrior lifestyle a little more, there is one final stop we need to make, so let's go north. Borough Hill is the county's largest Iron Age hill fort. It was built between 300 to 400 BC and is about 6 miles south of Melton Mowbray. It's 5 hectares in size and was a subject to a 5-year-long investigation and excavation by the University of Leicester's Archaeological Services. What they discovered here pretty much reaffirms everything that we've learned about Iron Age culture today. This easily defendable hilltop site was surrounded by an almost continuous rampart made of stone covered with turf. Internally, that rampart was 2 metres tall, and at the entrance there was a guard room with multiple floor levels. In its heyday, this would have been a formidable structure and would have given any attacking force serious pause for thought. Inside the enclosure was found further evidence of Iron Age culture. In addition to decorated pottery and farming tools, and the largest group of Iron Age metalwork in the East Midlands, Borough Hill really gives you an insight into the social lives of the Coryell-to-Vorai. In one area, bone dice were discovered alongside a polished bone flute and a beautifully decorated blue glass bead from a necklace, echoing that love of art and decoration that we discussed at Humberston. Then, in 2014, the final year of the excavations here, a student archaeologist discovered a hoard of rare decorated bronze fittings from a chariot. Found at the bottom of a pit, the Borough Hill hoard consists of 22 items, including linchpins, terret rings from a horse's harness, and iron tools. But these beautiful and expensive items had not been lost or thrown away, but rather the pieces, probably while still attached to the chariot, had been gathered together in a box before being placed in a pit and burned, very likely during a religious ceremony. Borough Hill, along with the other sites that we've visited today, give us a real insight into the Iron Age world. A time of war and peace, tradition and innovation, faith and feasting, life and death, which, let's face it, isn't too dissimilar from the world we live in today. By capturing the key Iron Age settlement here at Leicester, the Romans were able to quickly and effectively utilise the well-established communication, trade and travel networks across the whole of the East Midlands. Likewise, by apparently offering little or no resistance to the Roman forces, the people of the Coryell-to-Vorai, and in particular the inhabitants of the newly named Ratae Coryell-to-Vorum, were able to easily benefit from the technological, transport and societal changes the invaders brought with them. By the time the Romans founded the now historic cities of London and York in the second half of the 1st century AD, the settlement here at Leicester had already been in existence for up to 800 years. In fact, beneath my very feet, right here underneath the Royal Arcade between High Street and Silver Street, a funerary urn containing human cremated remains dating back to the Bronze Age was discovered, proving that people have been living and dying here in Leicester for up to 4,000 years. Today, the people of Leicester pride themselves for being part of such a culturally rich and vibrant city. But as we've seen today, Leicester's rich cultural heritage reaches back for millennia. It was the Iron Age Britons of the Coryell-to-Vorai who truly shaped what we've come to call the East Midlands. It was their settlements, their way of life and their beliefs that laid the foundations for the many of the towns and villages we know and live in today. At the heart of the tribe, both geographically and administratively, and I suspect spiritually, was Leicester, a truly cultural capital. I hope you've enjoyed our little Iron Age tour. If so, please like the channel, share and leave any comments, and most importantly, subscribe to get all the latest videos that I post. Thanks for watching.
I really enjoy Jim's films. I mean, like I say, I know he's done it the series, and you can find them on YouTube. But it's just nice every now and again to have one of those. I really enjoy them. They're just never get fed up of watching them because he has a lovely way of bringing them, bring them over without being overloaded with too much detail. So that's great. Super. Okay, and David Starnborough, the Starnboroughs are here. And he said another interesting film. Thank you, David. And while all that was going on, Mr. Nose himself, Steve, has arrived in the chat room. Now tonight, you are lucky. We're going to have two noses tonight: a short noser and a long, and a longer noser. That's all coming up yet to come. But people do like them. Those particular films of Jim's. Daniel Coburn said, "Brilliant! I've not seen that one before." And Jan Kirby saying, yes, they're very interesting. He's a great presenter. He's a good lad, isn't he? People enjoying it. I'm glad you did, because I often think, well, what can I put on tonight? Because as I often say, it's sometimes there's only limited stuff about Hinckley and stuff. But of course, well, Leicester, we are more akin to Leicester, aren't we, than what we are Coventry, I would say, definitely. Anyway, round here. Anyway, jolly good. Now then, so 6 of the best. Now, for some of the late comers, some of the late people coming in, and as I look to the back, I can see Patrick Galloway. Stood up. Come on, stood up. Why was you late? That's no excuse. 100 lines. I must not be late for HDPP again. Yes, get on with that. But you've made it here, Pat. The main thing is that you've made it anyway, so well done. Right, so for those of you that were late in and didn't see our 6 of the best, it's time to go through them one more time so you can have a go before we have our first nosy of the evening. And here we go indeed. Now then, so what does Potters Marston, Aston Flanville and Sutton Cheney share in common? And we're not talking about chapels or churches this time. Like I say, Mrs. G's got 6 out of 6 tonight. She got all these right, because what we have to do, we log them down in a database, you see. So she writes the question in, and then she tries to answer it. So she got a preview of tonight's thing, but of course she's banned from entering. So there we go. But so there is something that does link Potters Marston, Aston Flanville, Sutton Cheney. But what is it? Not a church or a chapel, but there's something there, and you'll go, oh, yeah. So that's your question number 1. Question number 2. Now, saying the name of what fruit used to encourage people to smile before a photo in the 1800s? You know, before we used to say cheese, or BC, before cheese. What was the name of the fruit that they used to say instead of cheese? It's quite funny, actually. You'll find out at the end of the programme. Question number 3. Find the words now. We are looking for a Classic Kids programme. And I also put in the chat room, if you was looking, I also put that the last dash at the end is a punctuation. Okay, so it's a punctuation mark. So how does that fathom out here? There we go. So it's a Classic Kids programme. Everybody knows it. Dangerous Den says, I've got it. Yeah, well done. So it is doable. Dangerous Den has done it. Can you do it? There you go. A classic, and I do mean a Classic Kids programme. Everybody's known it. I think some of the kids even today know of it. This show's been around a long time. Although I do think the early ones were better than the later ones. That's as much as I will say, but that is just me. Question 4. We want you to guess the year when it was the Profumo affair, the Great Train Robbery, the mass civil rights demonstration in Washington, and the Great Escape was first shown. Try and do all this without Google. You get extra smugness points from Mr. Smugly if you do it without Google. Jan Kirby said, oh yes, she said, I'm humming the tune of that children's programme. Yes, that'll be a little brainworm for you. You know, with them little worm, you know when you wake up in the morning, you got music playing in your head, you think, well, I've got a brainworm this morning, it's going on, oh no. Anyway, let's see how that one goes. Question number 5, we're saying, where am I? I'm not going to say too much, I want to see what your observations are like. Now, this could be one of 2 or 3 locations. but I've left enough in the picture for you to think, oh, it's got to be that one and not the others. You know what I mean? So there we go. Just leave it on the screen a couple of moments longer before we go over to our anagram. Here it is. Eggnog, hand-holding toaded. Yes, that's what it is. A local hostelry. And, of course, Mr. Smugly got it straight away. Did you feel the waves of smugness going all over Hinckley? Yeah, felt it earlier on. I felt it straight away. I just knew it. Anyway, a local hostelry. I think we've had it a little while ago now. It was quite funny because when we was putting this together, I was nearly going to give everybody the wrong clue. But I was corrected by my right hand lady, who is always right. And oh no, it's not that, is it? It's this. I was working on next week's anagram, and I was going to use that one. That would have confused you. Maybe that's a good idea for a new question. Let's see how we go. So there you go. That's your 6 of the best for this evening. As I say, answers will be coming before the end of the programme. Now then, just a heads up before we go into our next feature this evening. As I say, and if it's your first time watching, yes, this is about the level of it, so you might as well get used to it. We've been making plans on HDPP for St Mary's Christmas Tree Festival. Now, I know we haven't had Bonfire Night, and I know we haven't had Halloween yet, but it's going to be something a little bit special, really nice. And we'll be featuring... our display will be on the tree will be featuring certain people from this group. I wish he'd got his book ready. Anyway, so what you will find, it's going to be fun, it's going to be great, and it sort of sums up all, what HDPP is all about, and also what we do. So looking forward to getting that sorted as well. Now next week, of course, it's our closest approach to Halloween, so we've got a spooky show next week. All right. The echo didn't work. So we'll have a bit of a spooky show next week. That'll be fun. So I want you to all come dressed up and ready to go. And then you can all send me pictures of you all, with your, your makeup on. Yeah, I did mine earlier. Can you see? Anyway, so a spooky show next week. The following week, we'll be looking at the history of the War Memorial as we quickly start to approach Remembrance. And, of course, on Remembrance Sunday itself, we will be, as we always do, we will be having our roll call of the Hinckley War Memorial as we normally do. That goes without saying, as you can well appreciate. And once again, and probably the last time I shall mention it, thank you to all those that sent me messages saying that they've seen the article in the Hinckley Times about the BEM. Thank you very much. Lots of people yesterday in St Mary's Church were coming up and saying congratulations, well done. People I didn't know, but they knew me. It's really nice, and yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you. It's really appreciated. Okay then. Right. Nosy time. I promised you 2 noses. Oh my word, so I did. So I don't know whether to go little nosy first, big nosy later, or big nosy first, little no. I think we'll go for the big one first, shall we? So yes, our man Steve Picker has been out and about as always, as he does. And this one we haven't screened yet because we were one behind the other day. So all being well, settle back and enjoy this week's nosy. We will follow it through with a shorter nosy after this one. Here we go.
And I'm telling you now, if we can get in it, over it, or bloody under it today, we're doing it. Proper little swashbuckling adventure. Swashbuckling, where's that come from all of a sudden? Hello, hey up and how you diddling? My name is Steve, and once again it's a great big warm welcome from myself to Let's Explore. Right then, in today's little adventure, I'm taking you to South Leicestershire, to the town of Lutterworth, as you can see now on the map. And what we're doing, we're exploring the Great Central Railway, and we're going to go 2 or 3 miles down to the village of Shorewell, or, as I've heard on the grapevine, it's pronounced Showell. Is that correct? I really ain't got a Scooby-Doo, but for now, I'm sticking with Shorewell. Anyway, we're going to go swashbuckling down this Great Central Railway southwards towards Shorewell. Because I've got a feeling we've got a lot of bits and bobs, a lot of little gold nuggets and treats to find within the undergrowth on this old railway that were built in 1899. Anyway, I'm making my way down to what remains of Lutterworth Station that opened in 1899 to see if there's hope left, because this station, as you're going to see in a minute, was a bit unique actually. Well, maybe not unique, but I've not seen many stations like it, or how it was positioned, or how you got to it anyway. Right, let's go for a nosy. Right then, so Lutterworth Station, the site of it should be about here somewhere. Ah yes, here's the bridge. Fantastic stuff. Right, so you see that there? This path I've just been walking on is a public footpath. That's not the railway. The railway was indeed up there on the embankment. But this bridge is fascinating. It's not any old bridge, because this was your access up to the station. And by that, I'll show you what I mean. Look at this. It's fantastic, this is, you know. So what do you reckon to this then, look? So, double track. One track there, and another track there, look. And a gap in between. Now then, pay attention to what looks like lattice. Is that what you call it? I call it that because it reminds me of what my mum and dad used to have in their garden a long time ago. But bear that in mind. We'll talk about that in a minute. But look at this, look. Can you see it? See that archway there? Now that's been bricked up, but there used to be steps there that used to take you up to the platform, because the platform was up there. So what we need to do is get up on top on the embankment and have a butcher's and a reet good nosy, don't we? That's fascinating, isn't it, that archway? Amazing. All will be revealed. Let's go and have a look. Ducking and diving up and down these bloody embankments. Right then. So here we are, up at platform level. Now, there's one track bed, and there, that, believe it or not, is what remains of a platform. I'm pretty sure it is. We might be able to get in here, you know, I'm not sure. Right then, see that there? That's what I was on about down below, that lattice work. Is it called that? I don't bloody know, I think so, but whatever. Now, see that old photograph you're looking at now? That is that. I'm not sure what angle. I think it is from this angle actually. I think maybe the photograph was taken from here somewhere. I'm not sure. I can't think now, whatever. But that though is absolutely amazing. And of course you can see down below the steps, the archway is on the other side down there. But this is amazing, folks. The site of Lutterworth Station. Can you Adam and Eve it? I mean, this day and age, you've got back gardens backing onto it, ain't you? But, conveniently so, someone's made a mess of the barbed wire, which makes a change. I bloody hate the stuff. Anyway, I digress. Can we see any brickwork or anything to do with this old platform? I think this is the platform. No, that's riveted. This bit might not be the platform then. Or is it? I don't know. Well, it was up there anyway. Bloody hell. Wish that crow would shut up. Probably thinking the same thing about me, isn't it? Yeah, amazing. But anyway, this was the site of Lutterworth Station, which would have stood just over there. Maybe that is part of the platform and it's reinforced. I don't know. I ain't got a Scooby-Doo. Anyway, let's proceed, because we've got some interesting stuff to go at today, I'm sure we have. Let's go for a nosy. Oh, bloody hell, making a right row, ain't I? People are only just getting up, for God's sake. Right. Right then, so there I was, minding my own business, walking on the track bed just up there, and I almost missed this. Almost missed it, a little subway. If I hadn't have heard a gate going up there, there's a public footpath here. If I hadn't have heard some chap open that and walk through it with his dog, I wouldn't have realised there was an underpass here. So as you can see now, fantastic that. Almost missed it, didn't I? Right then, so I've just been showing you that lovely little subway just up there on that public footpath, haven't I? And I've carried on walking a couple of 100 yards, about 300-400 yards, and I've looked to my right and I thought, bloody hell, this embankment's really big at this point. I mean, that's the roof of a house down there, that white thing. I mean, it might actually be a bungalow, but it's bloody hell, it's immense, this is. That could spell one thing. Now, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? There could be a culvert up here, you know. Well, in fact, I think the River Swift flows beneath the M1 just over there, and it comes this way onto the outskirts of Lutterworth. So there's either going to be a culvert here or another one of them iron bridges. I've got a feeling it's going to be the latter. But we'll have a look, because, I mean, this is really big now, this embankment. Yeah, and there's a bit of a valley over there, so beautiful morning. I can't believe it's October. It's more like spring. Long may it continue as well, eh? Right then, lads and lasses, we've got a bit of a dilemma here. Well, I have, you ain't. You're all right where you are, aren't you? But because I didn't realise, even looking at the maps, I didn't realise how big this embankment was going to be. Now, you ain't going to see it from here. Just through there, in fact, yeah, you will look, you can just see it shimmering. That is, I think, the River Swift. Now, this embankment, we've got to get down here. It's certainly a bit more passable than that side from what I've just been looking at, but it's massive, this is, and I'll tell you what, fair play to them that built it, do you know what I mean? Now, you got to remember, this being the late 1890s when it opened, mechanical excavation was used on this railway, 100%. I've seen photographs of it in Leicestershire, but we need to get down here, don't we? Do you know what, if this is a culvert, it might, do you know what, it might actually be a bridge, I don't know. Oh my God. I can see a really big coping stone there. Surely this will be a bridge. It won't be a culvert to this side, surely. Jesus. So, God knows how big this is going to be. I mean, it's got to be a bridge, surely. Just got to watch me step. It's a bit slippy underfoot. Do you know what? I daren't tell you what I've just seen. It's a massive arch. Do you know what? That's really nice. We've got graffiti through there. They found it as per usual. This is massive. I was not expecting this. Jesus. I mean, it's not quite a culvert. It's a massive bridge. Look at the arch on it. Nearly tripped over barbed wire then in the excitement. Look at that. That is massive. Look at it. I'm pretty sure this is the River Swift. What a scene. I was not expecting this. This was worth the trip just to see that. Let's get back a bit. Let's get back a bit. Wow. I told you it was a big embankment, didn't I? Unbelievable. Wowzers. Now, are we calling it a culvert or are we calling it a bridge? Great feature though, isn't it? I mean, that, of course, is an open culvert. But it's just immense. Blue engineering brickwork at its finest, eh? I know I go on about it, but it's incredible engineering. I mean, this would be concrete this day and age, you know. The workmanship in here. Wow, wow, wow. In fact, I'm going to stop banging on about it. Anyway, I'm shocked to the core with this one, as you could probably tell. Was not expecting that at all. Anyway, let me get me send back up this steep embankment without killing me, sen. Do you know what I mean? And then we'll carry on as exploration, eh? What you reckon? Right then, so we have indeed left the bright lights of Lutterworth behind, about 2-3 miles in that direction, and now we're on the outskirts of the little village of Shorewell, which I'm not sure, is it in Leicestershire or is it over the border? Not quite sure, but I digress. So our journey has now brought us to this little golden nugget just here, look. Look at that. What do you reckon to that then, eh? Lovely little plate layers up. Now, of course, it's not old, it's not brickwork, it's concrete. So it was built in the last century. I'm saying between 1920 and 1950 perhaps. Not really sure. Of course, this railway opened, maybe this section opened in 1899. I think the parts up north, didn't they open around about 1897-ish? Around that ballpark, I'm not sure, but yeah. Right, so I had to go off the track bed for a short period because it was just so overgrown, you know. But I'm making my way down this steep cutting now as we speak, because we've got a beautiful, really big bridge here. As you can see now, it's immense, to be honest with you. It's fantastic. Just look at that. I mean, this is in really good condition, actually. I mean, I think it's a bit of a agricultural access bridge at the top where it used to be. It looks pretty overgrown now, to be honest with you. I don't think you could really walk it either, but as you can see, that's phenomenal brickwork once again. And once again, this day and age, it's boring concrete if we build anything like this. And anything like this now isn't pretty at all, for want of a better word, but amazing. Right, let's carry on. Beautiful bridge, that, isn't it? It's more like a little viaduct. In fact, don't they have to have 4 arches, was it, Steve? We were saying the other day, to be a viaduct, class as a viaduct. Not sure. Very nice though, that. Right, let's carry on and see what else we can see before we end today's video. And I'm stumbling across this field in me wellies for a change, heading towards this very thick undergrowth, stinging nettles, bane of my life. But when you get a lot of stinging nettles and a tree line like that near a railway, usually means one thing, doesn't it? Covert. Do you know what I mean? So we're gonna head on in here. I can see the top of the brickwork, lovely blue brickwork. I think it's going to be a decent size one. It's going to be nothing like the thing we're seeing back there at Lutterworth. This will be a nice and proper enclosed culvert, this. Let's go down nosy. The best thing about being nosy is the prerogative to have a little fun. Right, here we are. Made it down. I made a meal of that, didn't I? Let's go down Butcher's. Nice and that, isn't it? Right, here we go then. Nicely brick lined. The water ain't deep either, by the looks of it anyway. Nice culvert that way, weren't it, back there? And at this point, this field that I'm walking through, this bit of a meadow that I don't think's been touched by anyone for a long time, it feels like I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I know I'm not, because I can hear the A5 over there and the M1 over there. But we're looking for a culvert now. This culvert that you're looking at now on the map, as you can see, I've measured it, and what is it? I think it's 126 metres long. Now, if the bore of it is anything like the one we've just been in, it'll be a fantastic culvert, this will. It really will. So that's what we're looking for at the minute. I'm just hoping, if it is what I'm hoping it is, that we can get in it because I have got the wellies on, but if it's really deep, then we're not going anywhere. But what an epic little adventure this has been today. I tell you what, I mean, this is up there with some of my favourite railway explorations, if I'm being totally honest with you. As you can see, as my mate Amazing Adam will always say, it's a jungle out there, Steve, and it's certainly a jungle in here today. But if we pan the camera around and start going this way, well, you tell me when you see it, because right in front of you, hidden in plain sight, is what we're looking for. And I'll tell you right now, it looks amazing. Can you see what it is yet? You can see it, you can see that coping stone, can't you? Because that is a culvert, and it's going to be a long one, folks. Bloody hell, just like, yes, it's a big one. It's a big culvert. Wow, going under this embankment here. Now the embankment at this point is wide. Now there used to be a signal box up there about level parallel with that. We're going to see if we can find any remains of it, any trace after this, and then call it a day. What a great adventure this has been. And I'll tell you what, this is a fine looking culvert, man. I tell you, look at this. Bloody hell, we've got to get down there, haven't we? Instead of banging on about it. This is in great condition. Well, as great as it can be. I mean, you've got a tree there pushing the brickwork, and you've got cracked, but yes, we can get in it. The water's not deep. Hallelujah. And I'll tell you something else, shall I? This Great Central Railway, they didn't mess about when they built these culverts or any architecture on this railway. No expense spared. Look at this. 126 metres of pure amazingness and nosiness right there. And I'll tell you something else, me lad and me girls. It'd be extremely rude not to, wouldn't it? Come on, you know the dealio by now. Let's go for a nosy. It's a good one, that, I tell you. Lovely. Nice wing walls on it, aren't there, as well? Look at that. 4 brick arch as well. Never mind that, Stephen, get in it. All right, I'm going. Right, chill out. Flawless, isn't they? I mean, this is a, 125-year-old, isn't it? Just like the last one. Now, the one we've just been looking at, when that were built, you imagine this was being built at the same time as well. Must have been. Must have been. I'd have thought so anyway. There'd have been that many blokes down here building this railway. Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? So that measurement was about right then. It looks to me like it was anyway. Oh, it was sinking. Got mud here. Fantastic. Right, so I was actually hoping to get all the way down there, but 3/4 of the way down, the mud is quite deep. It's not far off welly depth, and you don't want to be getting stuck down here, do you know what I mean? But it's a much of a muchness, but one incredible piece of civil engineering, yet again. It's pretty much poker straight, this is as well. Don't forget, there's no precast nonsense going on down here. It's all thousands and thousands of individual little bricks. Incredible, isn't it? I mean, we built Britain on it, we built the world on it, the humble brick, didn't we? I mean, the Industrial Revolution wouldn't have been any sort of revolution without the humble little brick and all its mates, do you know what I mean? And that just proves it. Anyway, let's get out of here. Fantastic. A bit disappointed there, I couldn't go all the way through it, but never mind. Right, well, as magnificent as that was, the show must go on, as Freddie Mercury once said, because this adventure ain't finished yet. He says, nearly falling back down there. Fantastic that was. But now, before we end the video, I want to have a gander up there, or a goosey, as Rare Rob says. I want to go up there and have a butcher's, because that is the site of Shorewell or Showell, I don't know. Showell, sure, well. That is where the signal box used to be, up there somewhere. Now I've looked at it on the map, it looks pretty much adjacent to this splendid culvert we've just been in. But is there going to be anything left of it, brickwork, etc.? I really do not know. But it won't hurt, will it, to have a quick peek and a nosy. Right, well, unfortunately, that concludes today's video, and I really hope you've enjoyed this. I tell you what, I've had a right good little adventure here, I have. I've really enjoyed this today. I think this is up there with some of my favourite noses, well, where railways are concerned anyway, definitely, and it's in Leicestershire. I can't really find this signal box, but I say that, I think I have. I found what remains of a bit of an old metal drain pipe. That's what it looks like anyway, something like that. And it's really close. You see that, look? Just there, you can hardly see it. There's a bit of an indentation in the ground. I think that's where the signal box used to sit. And maybe that's where, that was like a pit where the gubbins used to go to control the rails when they were switching points and what have you. So I think that's probably, it's about in line with where I said anyway, with the culvert. Anyway, I'm gonna make like a tree and leave, as they say. Amazing. I'm starving now, I'm Hank Marvin, I think I've earned it. But what a great little adventure this has been. What a fantastic nosy. Really enjoyed this. On a 2 or 3 mile stretch of railway as well. I mean, that Lutterworth station, that was fantastic, what remains of that, absolutely. But as you can see, it's a goodbye from me, and it's a goodbye from the jungle as well. Look at that. 1899 this opened, and standing here now, it's like nothing ever happened, isn't it? All that money was spent, all that toil and back-breaking hard work building these railways. For what? For pretty much nothing now. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. I'm going to get back to my car and get back home. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share and comment. I love to read your comments, and I'll see you again at the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Oh, well, there we go. That's a good one, Steve. Absolutely. Really impressive, that one. And that's going down, I think that's going to go down one of his best and going to go down as a classic nosy. Well done, Steve. Now, listen, if you like, Steve, don't go away, because look, coming right up now, it's just a little nosy which Steve added just the other day, and he explains why it's a little one, but why it was special to get out there and get it filmed. Here we go.
Hello, hey up and hey diddly, my name is Steve, and once again it's a great big warm welcome from myself to Let's Explore. Right then, as you've seen by the title of this video, the Charnwood Forest Canal, which opened in 1794, does indeed have water back in it once again. No, they've not restored it, and there's never going to be a boat down it again, or indeed a great big Shiros walking down it pulling a 70-foot barge. But we've had that much rain just recently. There's a small section of the old canal near Tamworth Close in Shepshed that's got water in it, and I'm going to show you it very shortly, because we've had copious, unbelievable, biblical amounts of rain the last couple of days, haven't we? But as you can see here, it's very sad as well, because as many of you know that have been watching my videos for the last 3 years, from the age of 11 up until I was 21, I lived in Shepshed on Anson Road, number 60, opposite the old Oxley pub, which is now a bloody co-op. Everywhere seems to be turning into a co-op, doesn't it? But if you'd have told me when I was a little kid, when I used to come up here with my mates, White Horse Wood, if you'd have told me then that this field opposite the wood would one day be a building development, I'd have said no chance, not a chance. That's never going to happen. People won't have that. People are too fond of this countryside for a start. But we're building here, we're building right over there as well, aren't we, on Ticko Lane as well. You know, we're going to end up going all the way down to the Blackbrook, aren't we, if we're not careful. And I think it's actually going to happen all the way along. Now, when I say Blackbrook, we have got developments right next to the Blackbrook. I mean down near the Acker, next to the railway and the old canal. I think that may happen one day, which is very sad. But I suppose you have to remember, you know, people like myself celebrate these old canals and railways, but people probably didn't want those when they were built either. You know, the industrialisation of these villages like Shepshed and towns and cities, people probably didn't want it. They may have wanted the work, but they didn't want the other stuff that came with it. But anyway, let's get on with it and go and see the old girl with some water in it, because I've never seen this section of the canal with water in it. Let's go and have a nosy. I'm expecting there to be a lot of water beneath this old bridge. and there is. So it's that kind of, you know, it's got that reddy tinge to it, a very mucky colour, and that's purely because, you know, we've had runoff coming down this side. Now, the other side of the hill, there is a brook, of course, but this side, everything's going to find its way down here. And this is why the canal's filling up, as you're going to see. For many years, I walked and played all around here, and I never seen this amount of water down here, ever, never. And is it these building developments? I don't know. Or is it just all the rain we've had? I don't know. Let's go through here anyway. Right, let's make us way under the old railway bridge then. And I could go an easy way, to be honest with you. But I just want to show you the ferocity of, you know, what's been happening with this water, because I've just been talking to a chap up the top of there, and he says, I've lived here 35 years. He says, and yes, he says, I have seen a bit of flood water down here. He says, but never this bad. He says, never. I mean, apparently there were some official people from the building company stood just over the other side of here yesterday. He said, and they looked worried because of the colour of this water. But it's no good though, is it? It ain't no good. Now, I don't know if I am going to be able to walk all the way through it, because it is getting very deep, as you can see. But no, I've never seen it like this. Do you know what? I ain't going to be able to get through. It's deeper than I even thought it were. Look at this. So we're near the top of the old well, isn't we? Yeah, I think I'll just walk round. So even though I had my wellies on for once, I was defeated. I ain't getting wet feet this morning. But it would have brought us out to here. So, right, so what you haven't seen in this video, where you've just seen me beneath that railway bridge that's flooded, this is the canal now, by the way. I've just been talking to this lovely couple, Paul and Rachel Bonham. Lovely couple. He watches my videos, and we've just been gassing for what felt like about 5 weeks. My fault as per usual, because once I start, I can't stop. It's like a pack of Pringles, isn't it? Other crisps are available. So hello, the pair of you, if you're watching. Great to meet you. Lovely people. Anyway, here we are down by the old Charmer Forest Canal, and it does indeed have water in it once again. So at this point in the canal, this is where it all started for me. I used to ride my bike up and down here all the time, and you know, I've never seen water in it. I've never seen flood water get into this canal. Now, of course, the concern is, now this water's gone down a little bit. I came down here yesterday for a bit of a nose at. It has dropped a little bit, maybe half a foot it's gone down. But of course, you know, if this gets bad again and it breaches over the side of here, then it's going to be down, it's going to be in all these back gardens, isn't it? And of course, when I were a kid, none of these houses was here. You know, I've just been saying to Paul and Rachel, you know, Tamworth Close, which is just over there, we used to come down the jitty at Tamworth Close that connects onto the railway path. And, you know, once you got down to this point, down to here, it felt like you was in the middle of nowhere, but it ain't anymore, because you've got all these developments. But ain't that fantastic to see? The old canal, this side, of course, I'm pretty sure was the actual tow path. But of course, you know, the Charmer Forest Railway, that's up that side. But let's just see how far back we can go. Maybe not far. I mean, there's nowhere for this water to go at the minute. I mean, it will slowly drain away, but I mean, of course, when the canal opened in 1794, you know, the colour of it wouldn't have been that reddy orange colour, of course. Let's get on the towpath. I love this, you know, this nostalgia. I don't know, we're moaning about these building developments, and yet, you know, when this were built and the railway, no one wanted that either. That would have been seen as a major blot on the landscape. But of course, the people that have got all the money, the industrialists, they certainly wanted it. Pay people a pittance to work on it while they take all the cream. It's the same now, isn't it, this day and age? So there you go, that's looking up towards Tamworth Close. I can't really get much further down here. That's going towards Tickow Lane Bridge, of course, down there. Right, well, unfortunately, that concludes today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Only a little video today, but I've never experienced the Charmer Forest Canal like this with water in it. You know, we moved to Shepshed when I was 11 years old, and I moved out of Shepshed when I was 21. So I spent many happy years as a kid, as a teenager, you know, up and down here on my bike. And then when I found out that it was actually a canal when I was about 15, you know, exploring it and what have you, as well as the adjoining railway next to it as well. But just to see it like this, yes, it's horrible, orangey red, muddy water from the adjacent building site, but it has brought it back to life slightly, to be honest with you. You know, if we get any more floodwater, of course, and it breaches and goes into these back gardens, they'll be all hell to pay, won't they? But yeah, fantastic to see. You can just imagine the shy Rosses walking up and down this canal towpath just behind me here, having me right shoulder here, pulling, you know, 70-foot long barges down here full of coal and actually lime as well from Barrow Hill at Osgathorpe. Anyway, I'll see you again. Thanks for watching this. Not very long, but you've got something. I thought it was interesting anyway. Bye.
I said it was just a short nosy, but it's a nice one, and I can appreciate how excited it would be to see an old canal filling up. And in the chat here, we was just on about the big pit here in Hinckley. How, as you know, they started to fill it in, but it refuses. And basically it's filling up again with water. And with all this rain that we have been having, yeah, it's... would you want to live on there? Anyway, that's without getting political, but there we go. Right, a great little nosy. So, there we go. Thank you, Steve. A double dose of Steve. He'll be back next week, probably with a classic. And we'll do it all over again. In the meantime, time for the answers to 6 of the best. Now, I know that some of you have got the anagrams. Some of you have got the missing words. But who has got 6 of the best correct this evening? Stand by. We're going to go through them now, but please remember, do not answer question 5 when we're only doing question 2. Wait, please, till we get to it, and we'll go from there. Right, here we go then. Here comes the answers to 6 of the best. Now, already, Mr. Smugly has copied and pasted all his answers so he can get in first. I was watching him earlier on. Yeah. Anyway, let's see how we go with this. Come on then, Mr. Smugly. Let's go for it. Here we all. Jane Brown's in first. Right, so what does Potter's Marston, Aston Flanville, Sutton Cheney share in common? And at the minute, Jane has come through with the correct answer. As does Carol Beasley. I'm just waiting a couple more moments just in case. John, yeah, and Mr. Smugly comes through with the right answer. I knew he would. You can feel the smugness all over the town earlier. Okay, the answer we were looking for is Dovecuts. Yes, there's a Dovecut at Potter's Marston. As you know, there's one at Aston Flanville and at Sutton Cheney. And somebody might say, where? Well, it's in the side of the almshouses. Yeah. And Jan was first. Sorry, Jan, I didn't see it. Jumped in quickly. So, well, anyway, Jan was first with Dovecuts, but you've all getting it right, so well done. Sorry, it must have just jumped up as I looked away from the screen, because I have to press all the buttons as well. So, in the moments when I look away from the screen to make sure I'm touching the right buttons here, it must have come up. So, anyway, well done, Jan, as well. Yes, so we were looking for Dovecuts. Right, the general knowledge. Let's see who gets this one. Saying the name of what fruit used to encourage people to smile before a photo in the 1800s, before the phrase of saying, say cheese or BC. So what would you say? Oh, Jane's coming with the right answer. So is Mr. Smugly. He's done right. Oh, Dennis. No, Dennis, not for you. Well, not for Jan either. Congratulations to Jane and John, because they would say prunes. Yes, say prunes. Yes. And then they changed it to cheese because they were cheaper. Oh, Russet said lemons. Well, there you go. We were looking for prunes. And remember, Confucius say, man that eat many prunes gets his run for money. I love that gag. Right, that's an old panto one. Okay then. Here we go with the Classic Kids programme. Let's see who comes up with that. Now, I know Dangerous Den has got this, and I know that Mr. Smugly is more than likely. Yeah, see, look. Actually, there's a few of you getting this one. John Denny's got it right. Jan Kirby's got it right. Jane Brown's got it right. Dennis said, but how do prunes make you smile? Well, that probably happens behind closed doors, mate. With the paper rack right beside you. Yep, Daniel Coburn getting it right as well. We were looking for Scooby-Doo, where are you? with an exclamation mark at the end, you see. I'm about to tell you about the punctuation. So there we go. Congratulations if you got that one right. That was our missing words. So guess the year now, and the Perfumo Fair, Great Train Robbery, Mass Civil Rights Demonstration in Washington, and the Great Escape, first shown this year. What year have we got? And have you done it without Google? John Denny comes in with the right answer. Jane comes in with the right answer. Jan comes in with the right answer. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Lovely. Everyone's getting this one right. It was 1963. What I will try and do next week is put the chat room in on this section so you can see the answers coming in. For the benefit of people who don't see the text while we're doing this bit, I'll make a screen for that. I can do that. So well done. It was 1963. Now then, where the heck am I? It could be one of a couple or three places, actually. But I left a subtle clue in there, enough to make you think, oh, it's got to be. Jane Brown says, well, no idea. Right, John Denny is Mr. Smugly. He's so smug. Jan Kirby said, is it the Black Horse? No, it's not the Black Horse. But John Denny, can you feel the smugness? He's got it right, and I'm going to tell you the answer in just a minute. I'm just waiting for anybody else that might like to have a go. Daniel Coburn, no, I know what you're thinking. No, it's not the Weavers. Oh, no. And it's not the Black Horse. Oh, no. Damn, what is it? Well, Mr. Smugly said it's easy. Hanging baskets? No. It is the Blacksmith's Arms in Barwell. Here we are, just to show you, look. Here we are, look. I told you we weren't far away now, didn't I? So there we go. We're at the Blacksmith. But I can see why people thought either A, the Weavers, or B, the Black Horse, places like that. But in the picture, I deliberately left the corner of the bay window in so you could see. Make it so easy, Gardner. So well done so far. If you're getting your questions right so far, maybe all you need is the anagram. Now, the eggnog hand-holding toaded. Rearrange that, you'll find a local hostelry. And I know some people have got this because some people said, oh, I've got the anagram, so let's have your answer. Here we go. Jane Brown says, not a Scooby-Doo. Well, no, that was in the other answer, wasn't it? Jan Kirby's coming in with the right answer on this one. So has John Denny, as does Dennis Perkins. Let's just see if there's any more on this one before I give you the answer out on verbally. It is, of course, the Dog and Hedgehog in Dadlington. Oh, well done. Daniel Coburn just got in time. Yes, the Dog and Hedgehog, Dadlington, not Darlington. Daniel, you put Darlington. It's Dadlington. Well done, David Stamborough, as well. That is your 6 of the best. So now you know what happens now. It's now time to send in your scores. Let's do that. And like I say, next week, when I'm doing the answer section, I'll put the chat up the side of the screen, and you could see it coming in. Probably makes it a little bit more interesting as well. So let's get your scores in, ladies and gentlemen. Right. So Alan Crop, we have had a hard day, and we're late in. So nil, zilch, nothing. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I know you've had a better offer for Wednesday and you're all clearing off. The Kirbys and the Crops are away on Wednesday, but come back, revitalise. Right, anyway, Russet, 1. Dennis Perkins got 3. Jane Brown's got 4. Well done, Jane. Oh, Jeff Wallace, is it? Jeff, I didn't know you was here. I honestly thought you weren't here. Jeff, 3 for me, 3 for Anna. Unfortunately, the same 3. Oh, dear. Jan Kirby says 4 for me this week, although prunes are plums. Daniel Coburn. Yes, that's silly predicting text. Yes, I know what you mean. Queen Bee has got 5. Well done. A magnificent 1 for me, says Carol. Fine. David Stamber's got 5 tonight. Daniel Coburn 3. Alan Crop, we will try harder next time, honest. Well, I hope you will there. So, nobody's quite got 6. Now, Mrs. G, even though she can't enter, because I ban her, but she did get 6 of the best tonight before we went live on air. She really did. So she's a winner, really. But there with those of you that got 5, which is Queen Bee, David Stamborough and the likes. Oh, and of course, yes, John Denny said 6 for me. He says, I Google prunes. Yes, John, I see. Yes, you see, a man that eats many prunes gets his run for money. It's true. Anyway, well, blimey, we have gone on tonight, I know. Keep trying to make these broadcasts shorter, but they seem to get longer. Seriously, I do. I think, oh. Anyway, that's it from us. We'll be back next Sunday, of course. We'll do it all over again. Noses. But like I say, it's going to be a bit of a spooky one. So get in the mood. Sit there and, put the old masks on like I've got on now. And frighten a few. Let's get frit together next week. I think that'll be good. Right. Yes, Jan Kirby said, bye now, I need to go and pack. See, she can't wait to get out. She can't wait to get out. So anyway, take care. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday night live here from the centre of Hinckley. And I hope you can join me then. Until then, to keep it HDPP, keep it live, take care. Oh, by the way, I'm on the radio next Sunday morning. Come by, say hello on FOSS 107, 8 till 11. Just remembered. See if you can join me there, live on the wireless next Sunday morning. See you soon. Take care. Ta-da. Oh, hello. I'm back. Just very, very quickly. Yeah, I'd forgot. Yes, I'm on FOSS 107 Sunday morning. Next Sunday morning, I'll be getting you out of bed. So if you can join me between 8 and 11, I'm standing in for Ian Eisen next Sunday morning. So there we go on FOSS 107. Good. Lovely. Now then, just time for just one or two quick dad jokes. Very, 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 very quickly. And let's see if we can get you a little laugh as we go. Right, here we go. Question one. Joke number one. I just saved a ton of money on my car insurance by switching to reverse and leaving the scene. I used to have a job collecting leaves. I was raking it in. What? Okay, what does Charles Dickens keep in his spice rack? The best of times and the worst of times. Almost there. What position did Bruce Wayne play in baseball? He was the bat boy. And for years I suspected my wife of adding Bisto to my garden. When I asked her, she just shrugged. The plot thickens. Good night. Oh, I love it. I love it.